Hello everyone, this is Wednesday the 27th of January, our English lesson for today, and we are going to be looking at using direct speech. So we're going to need that in our newspaper reports. But first of all, we've got a bit of spelling practice for you. So remember, it's that EI after C rule. So it's I before E, except after C. So therefore, those words with the C have to have an EI after it. And this was our word list. Now, quite a short word list because there aren't many words for it. So we've got ceiling, conceit, conceive, deceit, deceive, perceive, receipt, and receive. It's when that EI sound is really elongated. So it's like E, it really makes that long E sound, okay? So for 1 minute now, you can copy out these in your best handwriting. Do that first, and then have a go at putting some of them into a sentence. So a minute to copy them down neatly, and then you'll probably need about 3 minutes to put them into sentences. Don't do them all, you'll be there all day. Do maybe 3 or 4 and see if you can fit them into a sentence. Okay, so which one of these is the correct spelling? Have a look over here. We've got perceive and perceive. Which one is written correctly? Then we've got conceit and conceit and deceit and deceit. Which version of that spelling is written correctly? Remember the rule. Have a think. Pause the video now and write down which one you think is correct. Okay, so I'll get my highlighter out. The first one is, remember, it's EI. So it's this spelling is the correct one. And the same with conceit, it's EI, and deceit, it is this one. Okay, well done if you got those. We've then got a couple of sentences here. So can you spot the spelling errors in these sentences? So I'm going to read them all out first, and then I would like you to take a couple of minutes to rewrite the spelling that you think is the incorrect one. So we've got Thea stared at the ceiling, waiting for the paint to dry. We've got he looked again as he thought his eyes were deceiving him. And then we've got I needed to return the faulty item, but I had lost the receipt. So pause the video now and write down what you think is the correct version of the incorrect spelling. Okay, so our first one, I hope you spotted it. It was ceiling that was spelt incorrectly, and it should have been CEILING. Our second one, did you get it? It was deceiving. And this is our correct spelling here. And the last one, you guessed it, it's receipt. Our correct spelling, EIPT, down at the bottom there. Give yourself a mark out of 3. Hopefully you got 3 out of 3 for that one. Okay. So today we are going to be looking at direct speech. And in newspapers, the reporters often include quotations from people that the article is about. So people who were there and witnesses or related, or even if it was about them in the first instance anyway. And this can be direct or indirect speech. And today we are going to be looking at just using direct speech. Okay, so let's have a look at this article first. Can you spot where the direct speech is? Before I reveal to you what it is, you might be able to remember from Monday what direct speech is. So I'm going to read it out first, and then we're going to talk about where the direct speech is in this article. The Troy ploy. Yesterday, the brave Greek army finally gained entry into Troy in a daring act of subterfuge. An end to the war finally appears to be in sight after 10 years of endless fighting. A full-scale battle is currently being waged inside the walls of Troy, but our sources tell us that the Greek soldiers are on top. Finding a way to breach the gates of Troy has been an aim for the Greek army for a long time. Unfortunately, the cowardly soldiers of Troy have hidden away behind their walls. The leader of the Greek army is the mighty Agamemnon. He said last week, "Something needs to be done soon. Their scoundrel of a prince kidnapped my brother's wife, Helen. We've had to fight for nearly a decade to get her back. I want the people of Greece to know we have a cunning plan that I think will end this once and for all." Keeping this plan a secret was a top priority for Agamemnon and his allies. There were concerns when the army retreated from Troy and sailed to Tenedos. Ultimately, this was all part of the scheme. Once the citizens of Troy were convinced that the Greeks had retreated, a courageous Greek named Sinon delivered a giant wooden horse. The horse had been carved by the esteemed carpenter Epheus and was presented as a gift honouring Athena. The horse was wheeled into the city just before dusk, and it wasn't until later that the real plan revealed itself. A dozen Greek soldiers had been carefully hidden inside the horse's belly, ready to escape. While all this had been taking place, the Greek army had surreptitiously returned to Troy. The hidden soldiers then unlocked the city gates from inside. The Greek army had finally gained entry into Troy. Our reporters managed to catch up with some of the fleeing Trojans. One said that he was sorry for the trouble they'd caused. He added that the plan had been rather good. However, he'd preferred not to have been woken up in the middle of the night by a raging horde. Helen was rescued just after midnight and returned safely to her husband. The happy couple has said that they will issue a statement at a later date. We have reached out to the King of Troy for a comment, but so far he hasn't responded. There are rumours that this is because he is dead. We will bring you news of any change as soon as we get it. Okay, so our direct speech then is anything with speech marks around it. So we are directly quoting what somebody has said. So here, this is a direct quote from Agamemnon, the leader of the Greek army. All of this section here, because it is in speech marks, and that's the only direct speech in this example. Okay. So what does direct speech need to have? You've got to have who has said it, so their name or their occupation. You might want to include an embedded clause with a bit more information about that person. We obviously need to have speech marks, and it needs to be what they have actually said. So we've got Odysseus, the general of the Greek army, told us it was simple, really. All we had to do was trick the Trojans. Okay, so we've got who has said it, Odysseus. We've got a bit of an embedded clause with more information about him. He's the general of the Greek army. And we've got our speech marks around what he has said. Now, this bit in red told us, we often see that in newspapers, reported to us. They said that, and that is a way of introducing what, introducing the quotation and what people have actually said. Okay, so here we have a couple of examples of some speech in speech bubbles, and we are going to turn them into direct speech. So here we have Odysseus, and he is saying, if we deliver the horse as a gift, the Trojans will think they have won. So I've already started this one off, and we can finish it off with Odysseus told us, well, what is he actually telling us? Odysseus told us, if I delivered the horse as a gift, I knew that the Trojans would think they had won. Okay, so making sure to pull that. Oh, pull that away. Making sure we've got our speech marks around what is said. We've got a comma leading into our speech, and we've obviously got some punctuation inside the speech marks before that ends as well. It might change slightly what you're writing in there, and he will be mentioning I and me because it's a direct quote from him, so it will be I and me. The next one, pause the video now, and can you have a go at writing your own version of direct speech for the quote from this Greek soldier? So he is saying, we had to quietly climb down and alert the Greek ships. So can you turn that into a direct quote? Could you, as an extra challenge, add in a little bit of an embedded clause to maybe give us some more information about this soldier? So pause the video now, give yourself 2 minutes and have a go at that. Okay. So here we are, we're finally at our task. Your task today is to turn these sentences into direct speech. Okay, so I have given you a series of sentences that are not in direct speech, and you are going to turn them into direct speech. So the Greek soldier said he was nervous when inside the wooden horse. Okay, and we can turn that into direct speech by saying a Greek soldier told us, open speech marks, I was so nervous when inside the wooden horse. You might even want to add a little bit to that. That's absolutely fine. And remember, you need to introduce their speech by using one of these phrases. Told us, reported to us, hinted that, confirmed that. It might just be the Greek soldier commented, I was so nervous when inside the wooden horse. So here are your sentences. I've got the little hints on the side that you could use: commented, reported, told us. Here are all your sentences that I would like you to turn into direct speech, okay? So do not forget those speech marks. Give yourself maybe 15 to 20 minutes to have a really good go at this, okay? And we're looking forward to seeing your work. Don't forget that punctuation. Off you go.